If your teen has been having these seizure-like symptoms or seizures, but every single MRI or EEG or any kinds of tests on the planet comes back normal or non-epilepsy, then I want you to know you're not alone. These episodes feel and look and smell real, and they are real. But every time you go see a doctor for these concerns, you come back with more questions than answers because nobody is talking about exactly what's going on with their child's brain and body. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what may be going on when your child is having these seizure-like symptoms, but no one can figure out what's going on, and you know exactly what to do to help your teen. So let's dive in. Hi, my name is Dr. Lee. I'm a pediatric health psychologist. If you are new to this channel, welcome, and make sure to stick around because I am here to educate you what your child might be going through so you can move forward in the right direction. So let me talk to you about one of the teens that I worked with. Let's just call her Mia. She, just like maybe your teen, has been having these daily seizures and that look just like epilepsy. And her parents rushed Mia to ER over and over again because nobody could tell her or her parents exactly what's going on because every test came back normal. And these doctors say, well, nothing is wrong with Mia and everything looks fine. So it must be stress, or it must be anxiety, or it must be trauma. And they just handed a referral for a therapy, but no one explained what was really going on with Mia's body and the brain. So what do? They are just like any other families. They went to see a therapist, and then the therapist goes, this is not what we do. There's no stress here. There's no trauma here. There's no anxiety here. So I can't help you. And so now Mia's family is back to square one of not knowing exactly what to do. In the meantime, Mia continues to have these problems of seizure-like symptoms. And it's been weeks and months since the episode started happening. So now Mia is not even going to school, and basically she's just bedridden because there's nothing anyone can do to solve this problem. And maybe this is what you're experiencing. And if that is the case, I hear you because I have seen so many teens and families just like Mia who's been at a loss. And while the parents want to help, there's nothing they can do to really stop these episodes and seizure-like symptoms. And then it's very scary and frustrating and quite frankly terrifying for a lot of families. So that is when the family found me. And essentially, I helped Mia and her parents understand what most doctors don't explain, which is that these kinds of seizure-like symptoms without having this epileptic event can be a brain and body-based response that is called functional neurological disorder, short for FND. And maybe you have never heard of the term FND, or maybe you have heard of FND, but you have no idea what's going on. Maybe you just got diagnosed with FND. So welcome. Make sure to hit subscribe, like this video, and then share with everybody, including your doctor, because I'm going to teach you what FND is. So essentially, FND is a communication network breakdown problem between the brain and body, even though structurally brain and the body are okay, just like Mia. That's why doctors could not find anything on EEG, MRI, CT scan, blood work, or any of the tests on the planet because FND is a functional neurological disorder, which is a biopsychosocial phenomenon. And that's why none of the scans and tests will show up. And within FND, there are so many different types. And then one of them, arguably the most common type, is what is called functional seizures. So that was exactly what Mia was having. So she was having these seizure-like symptoms, at least on the lay person's eyes. They look just like epileptic seizures. There are differences between non-epileptic seizures and epileptic seizures, but just to be super simple, that it is called functional seizures. Looking like a seizures, but it's not. And it used to be called psychogenic non-epileptic seizures, PNES, or non-epileptic seizures, NES, and there's so many different names like non-epileptic event, conversion disorder, faking or malingering, all of the other stuff. But just call it a functional seizures, which is a type of FND. Sometimes I get a question that is PNES, the psychogenic non-epileptic seizures or functional seizures, same thing as FND? The answer is yes, because PNES or functional seizures is a type of FND. So FND has more umbrella term, but essentially the functional seizures is one of the FND symptoms, okay? So basically that is what was missing in Mia's family. This was a piece, meaning what the heck is FND in the first place? Again, it is a real diagnosis. Kids are not faking. Oddly, it is a very common diagnosis you would get in neurology clinic, even though a lot of doctors don't know what the heck it is. That's why it becomes more mysterious and frustrating for a lot of families, maybe like you, just like me as family. So unlike other illness or diseases, when it comes to FND, the parent's initial instinct of what can they do to help their child most likely is counterintuitive. This is why exactly finding what is FND is far more important than getting stuck on why this is happening. What is the trigger? Only we can find the trigger, then we can stop this from happening. No. That is not kind of how it works out with FND. Yes, it is important. I'm not saying like don't even think about it. It is important, but it is not really the first thing that you need to do. So I usually make analogy, and this is exactly what I told to me as family as well. Think of FND as your house is on fire. So you are in the house and then your house is on fire. What do you have to do as a first step? Well, first of all, you need to get out of the house, and then you need to put out the fire. Then once the fire is done, then you figure out what happened so then it doesn't happen again. A lot of people think that each episode is like the fire. Then once the episode is done, they're gonna figure out, so what happens so then it doesn't happen again. The thing is though, its episode is like each fire flame, so to speak. So you have to kind of think of the entire FND or functional seizures for Mia's case as a one giant fire, and then you need to know that there's a fire, and then you need to get out of the house, right? And then you need to put out the fire, rather than focusing on staying in the house and then figuring out where this fire came from. And until I find where this fire came from, I'm not gonna leave the house. Well, guess what? If that continues to happen, you're gonna go down with the fire in the house, right? So you don't do that. You just need to get out. So just like that, with the FND recovery roadmap I talk about a lot in my program, Teen FND Academy, which is an online group coaching program, I talk about you need to know exactly what you're dealing with. So like, what is FND, right? And what is not. It is not just stress or just trauma or just anxiety, just so you know. Then, only then, we get to work on the how part, like how they can get better. And then only then we talk about why this is happening in that particular order. So once again, without knowing what FND is, you have no idea where to tackle first, right? Mia's family was exactly on the same page. So I walked them through, okay, we need to know what FND is, and then we can talk about how you can get better. And then we can talk about why this is happening, so then it doesn't happen again, right? So together, we started working on the what part. So I was basically teaching the family what is FND and what is not. Then we worked on how she can get better. Something like calming down or regulating, I should say, the nervous system, right? So then rewiring and retraining the brain and the body in a correct way, because remember, FND is a miscommunication network problem between the brain and body, right? So we're gonna have to kind of undo the thing that was not working and then putting them together, while we are also planning to get her life back. See, here's the thing. You don't want to wait until the episode or the symptoms are better and then go back to the life. Mia's parents are thinking the exact same way. And I said, no, that doesn't work that way. You need to get your life back and get active and then feel better kind of at the same time, not one or the other. You need to do both at the same time. That's why in the beginning phase of the recovery, it's gonna be choppy, it's gonna be rough, it's gonna be one step forward and two step backward, like that kind of feeling. However, that means that the Mia was doing exactly the right thing she was supposed to be doing towards a recovery. So something like that. When the family practice all of these things and kind of like doing the right thing with the right mindset is what I teach in my program, Teen FND Academy, all the time. Guess what? Mia started going back to her life and her symptoms started to disappear. And today, fast forward, however many months later, Mia is 100% FND free. And not only she got her life back, she's thriving beyond what was possible in her life. And of course, her parents are like super relieved and feeling so happy for Mia. And now that they can focus on Mia's thriving life instead of like worrying about the worst case scenario or this FND nightmare, right? So they joined the club they didn't sign up for, and with my help, they got out of the club successfully, right? And then no turning back. So what can you do? If you're just looking this video and oh my gosh, my child is having the exact same thing, seizure-like symptoms, but no one can figure out. I'm going to tell you 4 steps you can do today, okay? Step 1, you really need to figure out the FND is actually the right diagnosis for your child, because it can be something else. So the statistics says that misdiagnosis of FND when it was actually something else is about 3%. So go see a neurologist, which may or may not be available readily, but go see a neurologist, preferably, right? Ideally someone who is familiar or specialized in FND, but not everybody is specialized in FND, so that's okay. Go see a neurologist and then ask them about, hey, we saw this video. Is it possible that my child actually has FND or functional seizure? Okay. And then ask that question and then get the clarity of the diagnosis. And number 2, just like what you're doing, you've got to educate yourself. Just like me as family, you need to know what you're dealing with before you figure out why this is happening or all of the other stuff. So normal caring, again, parent strategies in this scenario are not gonna work. Like, let's just remove all the stress and anxiety that we can think of out of our child so then we can focus on getting better. Guess what? That is going to put the gasoline to the fire of FND, even though it sounds very counterproductive. Or you're just stuck on what is the trigger. We need to figure out this pattern and why this is happening. And then once we figure out why this is happening, it's gonna go away. Well, guess what? Maybe, but not so much. So again, you have to educate yourself about what is going on exactly with the FND. Step 3, at the very least, if you're gonna do this DIY process, then you and your child absolutely need to practice this regulation strategies for autonomic nervous system on a regular basis. And when I say regular basis, not like all day, every day, like 24/7, kind of thing. I mean, if you can, you could, but not just having a teen practice these strategies when they are about to have an episode or while they're having an episode. I get this question all the time from the parent. Well, what can we do when my child is having the seizure episode? Well, guess what? That's like, all I have is a small bucket of water and then there's a forest fire. What can we do? Well, you kind of have to start from the beginning and do these regulation strategies on a good day on a regular basis. So then your child is more capable and able to deal with the episode if and when it happens. So that's why it's really important to know what you're dealing with, going back to step 2 of educate yourself about FND. Now, step 4, start planning to get your teen's life back with baby steps. So again, this is sometimes that parents do, like the full-on pendulum. Okay, we're gonna do this business as usual, and then we're gonna send our child to school like full-time on day 1, kind of thing, after missing a school for like a month. So not really it either. The other side of it is like, don't wait until your teen is better and then remove everything out of your teen in the meantime. Any responsibility that she needs to be doing, for example. So this goes back to really knowing what FND is and what is not. So your normal parent intuition may or may not work with FND, I promise. Now, if you want help figuring this out for your teen, and if you want real guidance to stop these seizure-like symptoms, follow those 4 steps. Get the diagnosis of clarity, and then step 2, educate yourself about FND if it is indeed FND, and start working on nervous system regulation strategies. And I would say that is not all you have to do. That is the beginning of what you need to do. And then while you're doing that, start going back to your life with baby steps. That's the very least of what you can do. Now, once your teen does indeed have FND diagnosis and you're like, okay, we've done that, what's next? Can't do this all on our own because there are so many moving parts to figure out. Well, guess what? You can absolutely check out my online program, Teen FND Academy, and see if you qualify for the program. Link is down below. But in the meantime, let's start with the step 1 of getting the clarity diagnosis, and then educate yourself, because you really need to know what FND is. And I have tons and tons of videos talking about what FND is, and then you can consume yourself with tons and tons of reliable education. Now, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video.